When we understand that life is suffering, we must also know that the law of cause and effect governs everything within it. Whatever seeds we sow, those are the fruits we will reap. We have two kinds of understanding. First, whether anyone truly understands that life is inherently suffering, because very few people realize this. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, the very first teaching he gave was about the suffering of life. And even though he taught this for thousands of years, very few people have truly understood it, except for those with great wisdom. There was a time, at that time I was still young, and there was a neighbor. Back in the days when I lived there, before becoming a monk, everyone in the neighborhood knew each other. After I became a monk, he later came to visit me. He came to visit me and said, "I also want to learn about Buddhism, but by then the temple was already crowded, so you couldn't talk much." I just told him this: "Since you're here, imagine your hand holding a pile of money. If you think about it and see that it is suffering, then you are beginning to understand Buddhism." And from then until now, for decades, we've never met again. I don't know if he ever figured that out. And there are very few people in this world who can truly understand that. Many people still think that eating well means happiness, being wealthy means happiness, being beautiful means happiness, or having fame and status means happiness. Everyone thinks that way and spends their whole life struggling to chase after those things. But only those with wisdom truly understand that in reality, no matter who faces adversity or who has it easy, this life is nothing but a sea of suffering. But in that sea of suffering, there are those who, by going with the flow, naturally find more happiness, prosperity, and prestige. Meanwhile, those who go against the current have to struggle and face more hardships. The reason why some go against the wind and others go with it all comes down to the law of karma. Our realization must be that when we understand that life is suffering, we must also know that the law of karma governs everything within it. Whatever seeds we sow, that is the fruit we will reap. Nothing happens without a cause.
Before blaming anyone for anything, think it over 10 times. Before blaming someone for something, criticizing them, or speaking ill of them, think it over 10 times. Try to empathize and ask yourself why they are like that. Why did they make such mistakes? When we sit and reflect, searching for reasons behind their actions, we realize that they are not as blameworthy as we initially thought. Thanks to this, thanks to such empathy, our compassion grows, our merit increases, and suddenly we gain wisdom. And what is that wisdom? It is that in our lives we rarely make mistakes. Whatever we look at, we understand it, and we have the merit to practice easily. And with that merit, when we die, we will be reborn in good realms.
The more you serve others, the more your status, your value, and your position in this life will keep increasing little by little. When it increases, now let me say, suppose one day among you here, someone becomes the Prime Minister. Just as an example. And you all should try to become Prime Minister so that I can benefit from it. For instance, if one of you rises to a very high position, at that time you might ask me, when we reach such a high position, we can't serve anyone anymore, right? We can't serve anyone. Instead, people just serve us. But remember this, the law of karma is what elevates us. However, your aspiration must never be allowed to change. Please remember that for me. Wherever karma takes you, just let it be. Whether it brings you down low or lifts you up high, just let it be. We must hold on to a single aspiration, to live in service of others. Please remember that, never let it change. When we truly humble ourselves, all the vast knowledge and incredible talents of this entire world begin to gently pour into the very depths of our receptive hearts, enriching our understanding and capabilities. When we lower ourselves, the knowledge and talents of life flow into our hearts. But if we raise ourselves up, our talents fall away and flow elsewhere. So those who always see themselves as lacking or inferior are actually the ones who benefit. When you look at everyone with respect, when you see everyone as better than yourself, you'll notice that your knowledge keeps growing, becoming vast, and you end up knowing so much about life, excelling at whatever you do. It's simply because they humble themselves, they respect everyone, and never act arrogant as if they're better than others. I remember that all the talent flows into the heart of that person. That's how it is.
I break the cake in half. There's a smaller piece and a bigger piece. I give my friend the bigger piece and keep the smaller one for myself to eat. That means I respect my friend more. If you ever see a child who breaks a cake in half, keeps the smaller piece for themselves, and gives the bigger piece to their friend, you should be wary of them from now on. Because when they grow up, they'll be able to accomplish great things. Those people don't put much importance on their own ego. Those people will think about the bigger picture, about the collective, about others. And what is that? That is the example set by Uncle Ho, by the heroes, by the great leaders of our nation. That's how they are. They don't think about themselves, they think of others first.
For countless lifetimes, I have carried many karmic burdens. That's why this life is not happy at all. Being human is hard and full of struggles. So many hardships that tears fall through the night. Kneeling before the Buddha, I pray that in this life, I will endure even more hardships. I vow to sacrifice, to serve, to devote myself day and night, diligently meditating without rest. That is the way to lessen karmic burdens, escape the cycle of suffering, and open the path to rise above. Because it is merit that leads me out of the rough road of birth and death. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. When we truly humble ourselves, all the vast knowledge and incredible talents of this entire world begin to gently pour into the very depths of our receptive hearts, enriching our understanding and capabilities. When we lower ourselves, the knowledge and talents of life flow into our hearts. But if we raise ourselves up, our talents fall away and flow elsewhere. So those who always see themselves as lacking or inferior are actually the ones who benefit. When you look at everyone with respect, when you see everyone as better than yourself, you'll notice that your knowledge keeps growing, becoming vast, and you end up knowing so much about life, excelling at whatever you do. It's simply because they humble themselves, they respect everyone, and never act arrogant as if they're better than others. I remember that all the talent flows into the heart of that person. That's how it is.
When we understand the law of cause and effect, then we realize this. They are poor because they lack merit. They lack merit. We can't just keep carrying their burden of merit for them. The more we do, the poorer they become, and eventually we ourselves become poor as well. The important thing is to help them understand the principles so that they themselves can stand up, learn how to create merit, and furthermore understand the teachings to practice for liberation. It's not about just adding more poor people and helping only with material things, because that leads nowhere. So when we help others, we must keep one or two things in mind. The first is how to help that person realize how to create merit to rise up. The second is how to help that person have the aspiration for enlightenment. We must keep these two things in mind when we help others or help the world. Don't just help for the sake of helping. Helping without purpose is just a temporary favor. And later on, in some future life, they may seek us out to repay the favor. And that's the end of it.
At first, we always think about what we can do to benefit life. Then you get both things at once. First, you gain virtue. Second, you gain merit. This is the mantra, the self-reflective question. What can I do to benefit life? Not what I can take from life. It's not even about working anymore, thinking, how much salary do I get? Don't think that your value lies in your salary. Someone asks, how much do you make at that company? I make $1,000. How about you? I make $1,800. Then they smirk. They think that having a high salary means their value is high. No, we're not that foolish. We're not foolish enough to define the value of our lives by our salary. We define the value of our lives by how much we contribute to the world, constantly asking ourselves what we do to benefit life. That's what's important.
Then many people feel assured, thinking, oh, I don't need to do anything else. I'll just sit here and recite this sutra and the merit will be immeasurable. In the next life, there won't even be food to eat because they've misunderstood the meaning of the sutra. What does it mean to say that reciting this sutra brings immeasurable merit? It means that after reciting this sutra, you understand its meaning, you vow to comprehend the true meaning of the Tathagata, right? You must truly understand its real meaning. And then for countless lifetimes to come, we live as the sutra teaches, respecting the three jewels, loving sentient beings, helping all living creatures. Through countless such lifetimes, only after that do we finally reap the immeasurable blessings. But if you've just finished reciting the sutra and immediately think, oh, my merit is vast, that misunderstanding causes us to lose all our merit. In the next life, we'll be extremely poor, even though we're deeply devoted. That misunderstanding of the sutra, especially the Lotus Sutra. What I fear most is that the Lotus Sutra causes so many people to misunderstand. Back when I first became a monk, I used to recite the Lotus Sutra regularly, and I have also given lectures on the entire Lotus Sutra. And that's why I often try to clarify these misunderstandings. Many people get confused at this point. In this life, they have no merit, and in the next life, they lose their merit as well. So never misunderstand this, because karma is very fair. You have to act to receive. You can't just sit and recite and expect to benefit. You must understand this. Likewise, when someone becomes a monk, shaves their head, and after receiving the precepts claims to be a field of merit for sentient beings, that's also a misunderstanding. If you haven't attained enlightenment, you're not yet a field of merit. If every day you don't bow to the Buddha, don't teach sentient beings, don't do good deeds, don't serve the elders, and don't bring benefit to life, then you also have no merit. So don't misunderstand and think, oh, I've shaved my head and received the precepts, so now I'm a field of merit, my merit is boundless. That's also a misunderstanding. Or someone who keeps reciting the Buddha's name and claims my merit is immeasurable. In the next life, you might die poor. How is that immeasurable merit? You have to do something beneficial for the world to truly have merit. If you recite the Buddha's name, respect the Buddha.
If our merit is not enough, but we live in a house that's too beautiful, too luxurious, then there will come a time when we lose that house. That's a principle. Remember this principle. If we live in a house that's beyond our merit, then one day we'll have to sell the house, have it stolen, have it taken away, or have it confiscated. Remember, that's the principle. That's the reason why in Western countries there are so many homeless people. Homeless means having no home. The bank takes their house and they end up living on the street. So when they still have a job, they have a salary, and every month they have to pay for the house. They're buying the house on a 30-year installment plan. But halfway through, after only 10 or 15 years, if they lose their job, the bank will seize the house and kick them out. All the money they've paid before is lost. Their laws are that strict. They gather a few belongings and wander around, living under bridges here and there, begging for food to get by each day. That world is harsh. There are no charity houses, no gratitude houses like in Vietnam. In Vietnam, if people in the neighborhood notice someone whose house is in terrible condition, the local authorities will even organize support. Over there, that's not the case. It's straightforward. If you can't afford to keep your house, then you just have to live on the street, that's it. And it makes everyone afraid so that they have to obey their boss. You just have to work hard, keep grinding. Even if your boss exploits you a bit, you just have to put up with it. They say it's an 8-hour job, but the work actually takes 12 hours. You don't dare upset the boss. If you upset him, he tricks you here and there and fires you right away. If you get fired, you lose your house. Losing your house means your whole family ends up on the street. It's really scary. And why do people often end up losing their homes over there? Because their blessings are few, but the houses are beautiful. Everyone falls into that trap. Those houses are built according to pre-designed models, and those models are very luxurious.
Saying, "Why have you become a woman now?" mocking others. Meanwhile, that person has already surpassed you, but you're still stuck, still burning with desire, yet you open your mouth to criticize. Now I call you Nuyanti, I won't call you Nuyen Van anymore, you're just a woman. What kind of man doesn't know how to drink or gamble? We think what we're doing is the truth, that it's the right way. Or they say, a man without alcohol is like a flag without wind. I don't know which drunk came up with that saying, but it's destroyed countless souls. It makes us believe that drinking is the ultimate truth, doesn't it? And those kinds of slogans make us think that eating and drinking are what life is all about. So those who are still mired in lowliness and desire, who don't understand people who've risen above them, will even criticize them. And some people, if they're not strong enough, will be dragged back down by those criticisms. But those who have broken free and are steadfast will try to help their friends break free as well. Yet there are some who just can't break free. For example, when you hang out with friends and they smoke, they keep urging you, "You're such a wimp for not smoking, come on, smoke." After hearing it over and over, you start to feel like you're being isolated. Your friends smoke, you don't, but then it feels awkward, so you start smoking too, and that's when you start going downhill. You let yourself be swayed and dragged down by the criticism of someone who's actually beneath you. That's someone who lacks strength of character. Therefore, in life, once we've encountered the right principles and risen above, we must stand firm in the face of criticism, public opinion, gossip, and even the ways people try to isolate us. It's the bad people who isolate the good ones.